up? What's up? Good night, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Tonight's episode 9 of the
Episode number
Intrinsic
9.
podcast.
Podcast. With your host,
And
Herman Ian.
we're going to dive into the topic of feminine and masculine energy, Animus and Anima.
Animus and the Anima.
hmm So I want because these are two
Okay.
new terms for me. Animus and anima are two new terms for me.
Okay.
So since you introduced it, I would
Give a
love for you to
description.
give us a description,
Okay.
quick definition.
So these are terms, Animus and Anima are terms I'm using from Carl Jung. Um, in his, I guess, studies of the discovery of the self, he used these as terminologies to reference our unconscious other half. So like for me as a man, my unconscious other half would be an anima, which is the spirit of the feminine energy that exists within me. And for women, it would be the animus. Um, that's unconscious energy that exists as your other half relatively correlates to how we act in certain circumstances or situations. So it's like our how our reactions are to things and the energy of what we exert when we're poorly reacting. So as men, when we poorly react in a situation, we go to the anima, which creates, I guess, like I guess our heightened rush for aggression. So we'll speedily increase ourselves to, I guess, our rush of emotions. And I guess in the opposite, um, for women in that same kind of concept, it's like in that same rush of expression. If there is a situation, then you'll notice that women will become more closed off. They will lock their energy, which will be there more in a calculative sense, which is of the energy of the other half. It's expressive through obviously other means, but the relative perspective, I guess, to trying to find the best whole of yourself is trying to see in yourself what your unconscious energies require you to balance out or to understand about it, to fully understand and get the full spectrum and capacity of your being, of how to complete yourself fully. Because like I feel that's still within that same realm of people trying to keep a balance. We still want to try and find a way to balance all the different attributes of our life so that they reach like peak maximum point of like of how we are perceiving situations and growing for the betterment of our individual selves.
Mm, okay. So so to simplify it, I guess it is like you said. The animus is the female masculine energy, and the anima is the male's feminine energy.
Mhm.
So this is something that we tap into on a regular basis. Um, but it's more when there's an imbalance, so to say.
Yeah, usually it's a causal reaction because most of the time I'd say we're not actively seeking to contemplate the animus or anima of our individual selves. So usually it's only going to be when there's a circumstantial situation that it kind of gets brought up, and then your actions are directly or they're more related to the energy of your shadow self or your unconscious.
So it's like it's fair to say that the Annie I don't know what to call it, to like
You're like, yeah, no, no,
combine
that
them
works.
together But
The
the
Animus,
Annie
the Animus, the
is
Animus, the Animus would be like, oh, we're all or
it's the
Anians.
shadow.
Yeah, exactly. The Anians. Yeah.
The Annie side is the okay. So that because
Mm,
they both start with Annie Mus. Mus is
mm.
masculine. Ma is feminine.
Or anims, the respective anims, I guess.
Yeah, I want to break down the word to find out what the different meanings of it is, which I'm sure is possible because all these words could be broken down. But
Yeah.
anyways, to put that aside, so what is it? It it look like when there's an imbalance on the feminine body.
From my external perspective or perception would have to be because I guess it is a little trickier for me to really, or I guess I can comprehend it because I've tried to look at my anima and comprehend like the other side of my actions too. So like by trying to comprehend it, like you learn more of I guess the opposing energy in others. So it's like if I'm around women, I can understand. I guess I can comprehend actions more thoroughly. I can, I guess, perceive the 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 relative concepts of like mentality and situations. I guess because I
Yeah.
try to perceive it myself, and it's like because me myself, it's like I've had my moments, of course, obviously, because like that's what we all do. But it's like I've had my moments where I was heavily affected by the anima, and oh, also, sorry, it's kind of a tangent. But I guess there's also a really good thing in that realm of control too between it, because it's like I do kind of feel like both of the sexes kind of become slaves to each other in a degree that it's like how especially in like North America right now, like there like a big conversation going on is like between men and women, there's a lot of like conflict of existence and perspectives. So it's like there
Isn't
are
that
these
like one of the biggest problems on the surface? One of the biggest problems on the surface is that massive because we're all one, right?
mm,
As a collective, there's an imbalance of that respect
mm,
for those energies on
yeah,
a balance level, like on an equal level, right? One
yeah,
wants to do more than the other. Like
yeah, it's like
it's
trying
like a
to
massive shadow war.
I think it's yeah, and like that's the tricky part too, because it's like there I feel like it's because most people aren't really trying to look at it. So what they're doing, I find, is like overcompensation. I find it to be like an
Mm.
overcompensation as opposed to a balance. So it's like in certain men, they'll I guess you'll see that they're more expressive of certain things, but then like they become too expressive to the point where they reduce their own masculine characteristics, I guess. I guess even myself to a slight degree, I wouldn't even yeah, no. I even have that, I guess. Like where it's like it's kind of like a suppression, but I don't know. I don't know where I would fully consider it though, because it's
I think it's definitely suppressed, but it's also a matter of
like I feel like it's a balance of
like
control.
it long term nurturing of that energy, right? Like
Mm,
if like it's like habit. When on long term basis, when you're doing something by habit, your soul is familiar with it, right?
mm,
But
yes.
our souls are not familiar, and that's most of us on the surface. And for the
Mm,
ones that are very
yes.
lucky to be familiar with both their feminine and their masculine side,
Yes.
Like, kudos to you, please teach the rest. Like, teach us all.
Yeah.
Because, like, like that is probably the one thing that will help us to all survive. And that will help to mask and fix everything else on the surface. That's like deep down in my heart, I'm like, yo, if men were to be able to tap into that feminine energy in the time that they need to and be able to balance it so that it doesn't override them because they
Mm,
don't practice it enough and they're not familiar enough with it. So when they
yes.
harness it into their soul, it takes over and it's too much.
Mm,
So getting familiar with those energies and understanding that it's always going to be a shadow until we bring it
proceed.
to that state of
Yeah.
balance.
Put it in the light. You have to shine some light on it to even be able to look
Right?
at it,
It's
to even
like
understand and
God
comprehend.
and Satan, so to say. I'm not even bringing religion into this situation here because, you know, but God was the one that fixed everything, and Satan, to a certain degree, some people have a different argument about what Satan's position was,
Yo,
right?
I got a
If
crazy one from some of the stuff going back. Like, technically, he's Big Daddy Earth, technically. According to like old school, ancient scriptures, like Satan's Big Daddy Earth. He's why like the concept of why we're here. It's like he was with he was with God and the angels. Um, was there. He kind of was just on a journey. Saw Earth. He saw there's like some stories, like some Sumerian story. But he saw these twin fish and like a Pisces fish on the planet, and he saw some kind of potential in it. And then he went back to heaven, was like, hey, kind of want to go do something with that. And God's like, I'll give you a week. And then he gave him a week, and then he's like, okay, you're actually making stuff. And then remember that whole the Earth was made in 7 days. There was that week. And it was like,
mm-hmm.
oh, I'm like, but even breaking down that concept too, because it's like Satan's considered evil on a biblical perspective, but it's a being that's not. Like, I think it's just like the dogma of religions now have kind of like painted a messed up picture about a lot of things because it's all fear based now, right? It's all fear based systems. So it's like even with men, women, that same concept too. Because like a lot of like, especially since we live in the Western world, so this is like
We're
mostly
getting slayed out here.
yeah, it's like mostly Catholicism and like Christianity kind of basis, and those startups kind of put a pretty heavy imposition on people. Like that's the thing, like that
Mm.
strain and that passage of like where religious dogma has brought people to has taken people so far away from the teachings of the books to just the book itself. Where it's like the book. Like I literally, like what is this? Like 2 weeks ago, I won't forget. Like that was nuts. Like it was. I had like a 30-minute conversation with like those like people they have those like little Bible pamphlets like the word. Oh. Oh, I had them in for like 30 minutes. I
Why
was
did you
like,
do that? Why do you go
oh
that
no, it was
way?
fun. It was fun for me because
Oh my
like
god.
there's like I'm sitting there talking. Well, this thing is like I like it was funny because I could see that like I was tripping a guy out because he was like he didn't know really what to say other than the book is of God. Like, and I've been like kind of thinking about it for the past couple of days. He's like the book is God's words, and I'm like, but like this is an afterthought. This is an afterthought. I actually thought about this already today, but I'm like, okay, if the book is God's word, right? Did he write it himself? Did it just appear? And it just showed up in English too. And then on some scrolls, like God just poof,
That
booked.
cannot be explained.
Exactly. And I'm like, is that the case? You just go, oh well, no, well, it was attained, or like, I think no. Well, that's the thing.
I'm way
I'm
past
trying to
that.
I'm trying to run like the arguments in my head because it's like they're gonna be well no like it was sent through messages through these people his messiahs and I'm okay well then like I'll be breaking it down again okay so how did they hear his message well they meditated so then wait a second so why don't I skip the book and meditate? That was literally what I was telling them. I was telling those guys that day. I'm like, I meditate and like I find like I told them like my basis of existence is understanding that the only way anyone can understand God, spirit, world, themselves, anything is to try to understand yourselves. And one of the easiest ways of doing that is meditation. And like, it was funny that they just couldn't handle that. They're just like, no, we'll meditate with the book. And I'm just like, come on, man.
Dude, I don't have those conversations,
Oh,
and
dude,
I
it
know
was fun
where
though. It
it's
was fun. It
always
was
gonna
fun.
go.
It
The
was fun.
laughter
It was
starts
fun
when
because I could, you know when you see a moment where you're like saying something and you know someone like if you're having like a kind of debate with somebody, but you can see that like your points get through, but they can't say anything. You're just like, it was one of those moments. So it was just kind of fun. It was kind of fun because like it was like we were both like having like it was like a game of a debate, and it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun. It was like the dude definitely was not able to succeed in the progression of that because it wasn't really a debate when you're saying the same thing in repetition. But
hmm
yeah, but yes,
I don't even I don't ever try the because it's always gonna, you know, my point's just not gonna get across like ever. So I give up on that. But we digress. We're gonna go.
well, yeah. So where I
I
went to
wanna.
on this tangent, anyways, is because it's like religious sects and things like that have like restricted our ability to look within and impose specified rule systems upon us, which like denote our ability to kind of look within. So it's like men won't try to look inside in regards to like how they feel about things to be able to be expressive with how they feel about certain things to kind of find a balance between that. And then on the women's half, it's like the ability to take charge in a situation if you need to, like inability of being locked down. It's like the balance has to come to form where you are able to objectively think in both ways within your own one mind of like both like of any situation you could look at it from objective sides because it's like how they you see the generic concepts of like TV shows or whatever or like you've probably even done this yourself or had people it's like dudes working on a project, or even you yourself are working on a project, and like your man, or like say like my girl or something, were to say something, you'd be like, oh wow, I never thought of it that way, and it's like it's a perspective that like you wouldn't really perceive from like your normal wavelength of thinking because we think too much just or generally speaking we think too much like just the one side of our being as opposed to understanding both our atoms, our anim points between the two,
Calling it enemies.
the atoms, the anim points.
The
Almost
animes.
the animes. I would like to do that, but
I'm
like
so tempted to say anime. You have no clue for sure.
anime for life.
Okay, so I wanted to point out something
Sure.
that because I've been, and especially today, for some reason, I was just doing a lot of reading on like womb healing and healing that feminine energy within women because we hold a lot of trauma in our womb area, especially when we go through like molestation or rape. I'm sorry if that R word triggered anybody. My apologies.
Yeah, but
The R word, yeah, right. But if you've gone through those different things, that energy stays in your body. Now, doing this research, I'm like, I want to know more about the sacral area. I do know the basics, but I just felt like there was more that I needed to dig up on, and all the chakras correlate with elements as well. So the main element is water, and I think it says a huge red flag for one of the main reasons why we're all as a massive scale in balance like that is our water. our water supply has definitely been tainted over time, and we're
Mm,
always going through different means to try to have clean water, access to clean water,
yeah,
or distilled water, or natural source water. We just need
yeah,
clean water.
yeah,
So, for anybody who is listening, who watches this recording after,
yeah.
if you are trying to definitely, for female or male or whatever you identify
To help
yourself
clear your
as,
systems and kind of
we're
help you.
we're talking more so on the base of, this is in the spirit world. There's like that masculine and feminine energy, and then there's like the all around. You could be
Yeah,
anything. You can literally be a bee, you could be alligator, you could be
yeah.
fucking stardust, whatever it is. But we're
It's more
talking
like
about
a
like
heavy
in
androgynous.
in body we have the masculine and the feminine energy,
Mm.
that if one or the other is ignored
It
becomes,
becomes, yeah, it becomes, it, yes, it comes out. It comes out. So if it's ignored, it'll come out as like an
so
aggressive
is
push from
there a
inside.
name for that? There has to be a name for that manifestation,
Um,
like when the animas, or when the
let's say I'm not like I'm gonna probably give an over-explained name, but I guess it's like an unconscious reaction to your anima or animus. It's like
okay.
it have to be because it's like if you're suppressing the situation, you're suppressing your feeling or emotion of either or of the feelings, then like it's literally just like the constant suppression is going to cause it to overload in a particular affect. And even I even think that there's even
Oh,
into
shadow. That's what we were saying. The negative
shadow. Yeah.
manifestation, with the energy turns into your shadow self,
Ah,
whichever
ah,
energy you're ignoring,
yes. Yes. Exactly.
which is essentially what people need to do when they need to heal trauma, is to do some shadow work, shadow dive into the darkness of the hurt and the pain and the
Yeah.
suffering that you dealt with,
You have to look
so
at
that
it.
you can heal from it, forgive, whether it's yourself, whether it's somebody else, so that you can move on and have a prosperous life and not have
Forgiveness.
blockages to your blessings, because essentially that's what it does. You block your blessings when
Mm.
your water is dirty, when your inner water is dirty. Oh my god, that I can go deep into this shit right here because it's science, but it's science and spirituality. That's the one thing that's always confused me going to school, was how they tried to separate science and like soul.
I
When I was
actually
a
want.
child, I looked at it as
Mm,
soul.
mm. I actually want to
But
start something up called the spirit sciences. I think we spoke about this before, but I want to start something up called the spirit sciences, where it's like where
there's
we can
so
actually
many
use like the
YouTube.
document because there's a lot of documented science right now that is of the spirit world that has been done for like hundreds of years, like alchemy, all that stuff. Like those guys
Yeah,
have been putting in work and effort into this concept of existence for thousands of years, but it's been gradually getting like crushed out of well, it's back again. You can't stop it now. It's too much. There's too much connectivity. We'll
yeah,
be
you can't stop it. There's it's a momentum that's not gonna like slow down.
yeah.
Just
Like
gonna
it's
keep
the
going.
natural. The general idea is like what we right now are talking about is like an issue that guaranteed 100 years from now, maybe even less than that. It won't even be a problem. We won't even think of things like this because we'll have different concepts and mindsets of existence. The general idea is like the purpose of existence is for continual growth. And in order to continuously grow, you have to like balance. It's all about balance. Everything's always trying to function into a system of balancing. And I feel
Mhm.
even for us, like when we, because like that's the thing, is like that's our understanding into psychic resonance. Like that's what like the alchemists, alchemy studies of like the self from like hundreds of thousands of years ago, ancient mystics, like witch doctors, people like that. They have been. doing the work on the study of the self, the connectivity between both ends of their souls for hundreds of years to like increase what is one of our natural things, which is our psychic prowess, our psychic abilities. Essentially, it comes down to the more we start getting closer into that balancing form, is the stronger our minds become to the point where an outrageously it becomes an outrageous form of existence. Our The structure of our world will change so greatly, so vast, and it will be absolutely amazing. Because the thing is, like, I think in order to really even harness that level of ability, those skills, generally, you need to have a balance. You need to have a humble realm of balance in order to kind of access any of that strength. You have to balance out yourself with your shadow being,
Mm-hmm.
and once you reach that form of balance, you have that realm of control. You become closer to like the general state of like the existence sine wave, the the positive feedback loop of life. But you're running a positive feedback loop on yourself, which with your own psychic abilities, think about the capacity of what that would mean. Matt, like I've been running this concept through my head, but it's like thinking about what that means about having perfect balance and actually being able to maneuver your psychic control. So if you look at it like this, right? We had full control of that, like because you know we have like a magnetic wave structure on our bodies, right? Or okay, hang on, let me try to draw this. So got a body here. Dude, it's pretty crappy. So it's like we got our body here, and then we have our I guess our magnetic field. But I feel that there's another connectivity field between our brains. So our brains create another magnetic wave, and our brain wave is the one that connects to our soul, and our soul wave is the one that's on the external from the outside. When you have control of them, it generally becomes one massive waveform of energy, right? But my hypothesis is that because generally the idea is that the only way to control any of this is you have to connect with your soul. So it'd be brain to soul connection to really start all of this off. And I think the brain to soul connection is really the thing that can keeps you going. And like, I think we've kind of seen it used or done by people in now modern time, being able to heal their own bodies just through the power of thought. If you think you're healthy, you stay healthy. If you think you're sick, you get sick. Now, using that concept with like imagine you have full control of your psychic prowess. I have a hypothesis that we can keep our brains literally solid and we'd have a full connectivity to our soul. We can re we can manipulate the matter that is our body within that range. I think you can change your body into anything. You can adjust it. You can look however you want. You can extend your arms. You can shrink them down. Like I think we have that would be like the realm of like extension when you make that full connectivity, that control. Because like how because what's the extent of psychic prowess, right? There's almost no the limitation is essentially your own creativity, right? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. No, still can't hear you. Yeah, there we go.
Had the mic muted. My little one keeps getting up.
I wasn't sure. I was kind of rambling. So I did not know if you had said anything in the in between, but generally getting you. You got the general gist of what I was saying.
Yes, yes. I was writing down notes as you were talking.
Yeah, it's like that's the only limitation we'd have would just be our own minds. At that point, when we have our psychic prowess from obtaining full balance, like
So I want to bring perspective into the shadow a little bit more too on like how one can do that. Like the concept itself is scary for a lot of people, right?
Oh God.
This is a shadow. Like, even as a child, yo, I remember when I was a youth, my nigga, I was scared of my shadow. I don't know what it was. For the longest time I didn't notice it, but the day that I noticed that it was there, I was like, I remember freaking out. I remember that day. I
Oh.
remember my mom actually trying to calm me down and everything too, because it was like the first time I really noticed my shadow and that it was like following me around, you know. And and the thing is that I use that as also a way to stay in tune with myself throughout the day that I'm moving around, right?
Mm.
Like when I'm moving around and I'm feeling like a surge of energy comes over me that was coming from nowhere or something, like I'll look at my shadow and I'll be like, yo, what's up? Like,
That's cool.
where's
That's
this
cool.
coming from? I know you're there. Look, because what? Okay, so shadow work is essentially you becoming one with your shadow. And by doing this is you're actually developing an intimate relationship with your shadow,
Mm.
right? Because that's your dark side, so to say. You
Yeah.
know, part of you that wants to go
Your
out dirty
unconscious actions, your
dancing
unconscious
or
reality.
drinking and like the
Yes.
side of you that wants to go to strip club kind of thing,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
parts of you are there, and society has made us feel bad about that side of us, but not taught us how to nurture it so that it
Not how to
doesn't
nurture it.
manifest
Yes.
in a dirty way. Like,
Yes.
because if you
It's
don't deal with it, it comes out one way or another and it's not going to come out
yeah. It's
nicely.
usually far more work. It's far more toxic than anything else. Yeah. Toxic.
And
Self
very
toxic.
hard to reverse it.
It's self toxifying. It's really hard because it's like think about it this way. It's like you end up putting yourself in situations. You get addicted to this, or you end up going into these situations. You end up doing that. You end up this. It's like because no one really taught us how to balance it. I guess that's kind of where our society is at right now, where and I guess even us too right now. We're here doing this podcast, trying to give people kind of like our perspectives of understanding it, while we ourselves are still trying to create a full balance in our own beings and our feelings of energy, of our own energies and control. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I will like. I guess for myself, it's like it's tricky because like I don't know. I've had a weird. Think I've been relatively all right with my balance between my male and my female side,
I
respectively.
agree with that.
Oh,
You've been like that like most of your life though.
me, yeah,
Yeah, like there's just been that fine line of like, but you've also grew up around sisters and
yeah,
women, and
yeah,
like you were still able to tap into your masculine side a lot. So there wasn't an imbalance in that sense where,
but it all,
in some dynamics when the boys are growing up with females who are not quite conscious that they do need to be a little bit protective around that the male energy there,
hmm,
which is obviously a conversation that we're not going to dive deep into, but when that influence is there, there's that healthy balance within that
yeah,
individual. They know how to kind of like
perceiving. I kind of like blue,
perceive
yeah,
others, how to be compassionate, empathetic
yeah,
when dealing and especially when it comes to females, especially with women. Like that's a big thing for me. Growing up, I always knew that a man or a guy or a boy would be good with a girl or good with a woman if he showed really healthy signs with his sisters, really healthy signs with his mother, or really healthy signs with like his
hmm,
cousins that were female or whatever. And he just knew like even though that feminine energy can be really sporadic even for a male, which is the war in itself that we were talking about, is that like there's that battle the ultimate battle on the surface is that
Mm,
both sides need to respect the other. So
mm.
you can't have females that are like masculine energy, we don't need this shit, this is not for us, like men, all
Aggressive.
that stuff, and being reckless. And then also too on the other side having men being like shouldn't have no rights, they should just be in the kitchen kind of thing, like those types of things
Yeah,
are the stuff
the far
that
extreme ones. Yeah.
that just it just
The
creates
crazy part too,
the
I find like,
imbalance.
because I don't, like, I know people suck, but like, I don't know, I hear like some bullshit that has happened to people in their lives, but it's like a lot of times, I could also be getting this wrong, but I'd say a lot of the times, like, I find that like a lot of people do tend to speak on other people's circumstances, and then will use that to create like a bias, like they'll make a bias without perceiving. They'll look at it because it's like I don't know, it's tricky because it's like I've had conversations with guys before, and like I've heard them say some stuff, and I'm like, all right, dude, nah, man, you fucked up, bro. Like that was on you, man. Like you did that, and it's like I'm like the average dude would be like, oh no, man, I don't see anything wrong with that, but I'm like, nah, no, 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 dude. And then like I've also done that with females too, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean? You know, that's what you chose to do. It's kind of fucked up, but sure, I don't know how it's gonna fix the thing. Like, I don't. We're still learning, right? Like, we're all still
Yeah,
learning. Like, I guess the basis too. It's like we have to look within ourselves. Because, like, the thing with me too is like I even understand. Like, I know I have, I guess, a reasonably, relatively unbiased s kind of approach type of existence, but like the balance that I have is kind of like it's a part of I guess my own lesson that I'm working towards learning, right? And like
hmm,
for me, it's like by my by making the balance to my other side, like I kind of muzzled some of my expressive energy, which I feel is also limiting myself. So it's like right now my quest is learning to combine the energies that I comprehend and like allow them to or pretty much just surrender myself to the energies to just allow them to be expressive and be free and accept that the truth that is my being will remain solid. I think it's just fear of
intact
losing like
regardless of what energy
yeah,
is influencing
yeah,
your present moment. Yeah, that makes so much sense.
yeah. Like I think that might even be
That's
the overall fear, right? Like
yeah,
people are
I
just
was gonna
afraid of
say
losing themselves.
people are afraid of losing themselves, but people have lost themselves and are afraid to find themselves because finding themselves means that they have to face themselves.
You have to face
They
the
have to
fact that
face the
you
things of themselves that they've been denying of
mm,
themselves. The
that
self
makes it way
betrayal.
harder. That's way harder too.
Yo, that's another thing. There's self betrayal. Self
Mm,
betrayal is a massive part of why people do not want to. And the excuses, oh, shadow is like that's witchcraft. That's like we don't do stuff like that. And like tarot cards too. Like when you actually put a tarot card in your hand, you're just like, yo, somebody's like, yo, I'm gonna do a reading for you, and they read it out, and you're just like, yo, what the fuck? Like, yeah, I have been ignoring these things. Yeah, I did put that
mm,
off. Yeah, I was kind of mean to that person. Like, whoa, you just told me about myself and I need to go and check myself.
yes.
That's essentially what happens. And that freaks people out too. So I guess the bottom line is that some people are just afraid of the truth.
Yeah, the truth is tricky.
The
The
truth
truth is tricky.
hurts.
Like that's something like I guess I lucked out in my mentality in like my early 20s, maybe even a little bit like when I was 18-ish to like early 20s is when I really started to hash out like some serious questions with myself where I was just like how far down a path do I want to go that like if I do certain things, I have to accept it. I have to like 'cause again, like if you're trying to fight against things that you need to look at within yourself of things that have happened or how you lived or this or that, things that you need to take care of to become the best version of yourself. The longer you fight on those things, it's like it's crazy. So like I've tried my best to be as honest to myself as I can. It's like I always crack this joke to people. It's like, well, like I always crack this joke to people, or like people that I know. If I know someone's lying to me, like I always be like, it's like you can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to me.
Yeah. And but you have to tell yourself that. So
I tell my
that's
exactly like I have
but
that
that's what
embodiment.
that is though. So like but like yo, all is one, okay? So I want to like pull it all in now. All is
Mhm.
one. So the same concept of how I was saying like the surface and people on the surface are battling the masculine energy, women and men are fighting, so to say,
Mm,
and all the other switches that are happening, um, that is a reflection of the battle that's happening within.
mm.
That's the true battle that's happening within. And I feel like when more people harness, and well, I guess that's why we're here. That's why this is popping up everywhere. That's why there's,
Well, keeping
the
people aware, like the
making people
general,
more aware, waking
yeah.
people up, and educating them on knowledge that's not necessarily available in books.
Mm. Like I guess we may want to because it is still tricky because like the most we really can do in this is really just make people aware because it's like there's only so much you can do to help anybody. We remember we were talking about this the other day, and I was actually talking about this with the Uncle Tony the other day, and it's like there realistically is only so much you can do to help somebody because it still comes down to their own individual selves to take care of
They
the
need to want to do it for
yeah.
themselves.
They have to,
I
and then
love
again,
that.
even then, it's not even that they have to, that's just the first step. They have to want to do it for themselves. They still have to do it for themselves.
Yeah. That's the in psychology they call that the process of change.
Mm,
With the process of change, you one always start in the place of you're doing something you're not supposed to do.
mm,
And in that state, you're usually in the place of denial, right? Your
mm.
your your what do they call it? Cognitive dissonance is at a rise.
Yeah, it kind of,
So and then there comes along that one person that's like, hey, by the way, I noticed that you did this and that this is like this. So
mm,
there's like, okay, there's a trigger, there's a stop,
that,
there's a pause,
that
and
little
that
bit.
momentum that was going on like this, it was like spiraling out of control, but it was just going because it was generating energy for itself. And then
Mm.
all of a sudden, this one person comes
Trigger
in and does
instance.
something and triggers an instance of like, oh shit, my eyes moving back and forth is now another phase of
Yeah.
like you're pondering change.
That's hitting that wall of the positive feedback loop. That's it right there. That's like where the positive feedback loop is like, that's where it's like at that moment of like, it's gonna go over, but you're at that point where it's like
Mm,
just here, it's trying to get
that's
over the
that like
thing. So it's like,
breakthrough moment.
yeah, exactly. It's when you hit that wall, like especially because it's like because when you're down, you're triggered, and you're just kind of like you're still here in a state of like going down a path that's like eh, not in your best options of existence type of thing. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
you can ride that wave, but that just extends time of how long you're really in the underside of the sine wave. And then when you actually have that moment of trigger, someone triggers you, oh, it starts moving. You see, it's like close. Now the wall of like
Yeah.
intersections here, but it's like, oh, it's
Yeah, but
trying
it
to get there. Now
literally
it's up to
does
you.
this.
You
If
have to
if
push that
you're
last
that
little
negative
bit.
person, you have to get it to keep going like this. But if you're
Yes,
the
you have to
negative
push it
person that
over.
keeps falling in that place,
That's
you
why
get
it's
that
always a positive
momentum and then
feedback
it
loop.
comes right back down again. And
Yes.
then you're right back to rock bottom again. And then who knows when the universe is going to throw someone to you because, hey, there's sometimes when people are staying in their house, not
Oh
moving
yeah.
around. when literally like there's been times where I'm just like, yo, I'm in the house. I don't have these situations too much anymore, but back in the days when I didn't have as much um intent in my presence.
Mm.
Um oh fuck. Oh, that's what I thought. I'm so sorry.
No, no, no. You're saying sometimes when you're at home you didn't have so much something in your presence. Probably didn't help. That probably didn't help.
No, it's gone. I'm so
We'll scale
sorry,
back. We'll
guys.
scale back. We'll scale back.
I'm so sorry.
No, 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 that's good.
It's
That's good.
late. Well, it's
Um,
late for me because I get up at 5 in the morning. But
I guess it's like like yeah, because okay, I guess we were talking about that positive feedback loop. Well, I think that like on every situation, right? Because it's like that moment for that person's trigger point. You won't really. I think if you're on positive feedback loop for that sine wave, like you don't really start to come back down until you reach another point of intersection. So it won't generally be the same problem. It's going to be a different problem. So it's like if you're still if you're at the wall like this trying to get up here, that trigger point was the thing that made you go from this point to here. And like
mm-hmm.
the reason why you call it positive feedback loop is because you succeed in creating that 1/0 automatically. So automatically, like just by because it's never a balance. So you making the action gives you that point one. That point one is a positive feedback loop, which means that you're getting more back on the intersect because you're skipping a number. So it's going to have to go above that. But like generally, that means that whatever arc moment in your existence was, that's the moment where you started creating the path of change. From there, that's when like it starts to move into intersect. But it's like
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah,
The path of change. Sorry.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, you brought it off.
yeah.
Back around.
I'd
So uh, what was I
say pretty
supposed to
good
say
treatises too.
about
Like I don't know,
shadow
it's
diving?
tricky though, because like working on the idea of finds like people need to find. I think the first step is being okay with being by yourself.
Oh, well, that's what I mean. Like that's what shadow diving is. You when you're doing your shadow work, you should not be online. You should not be interacting with people like that.
Yeah,
Like
it's like going into
you
meditation
should
phase.
take like intermediate fasting throughout those moments too, so that you can really start to feel your mind, body, and soul.
Oh, you're talking like
Because
days of work. Shadow work. I've never actually
shadow work
meditated.
doesn't happen overnight. You have to. It's something you constantly have to do. Like I still do it because
Oh,
there's
okay.
stuff in my shadow that I know still need to be dealt with from even my childhood
Oh
that's
yeah,
still there, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I've
not
got a,
just
I've,
that, but
I've got a big one myself.
like I said, it's like building a relationship, an
Mm-hmm.
intimate relationship with your shadow. So
Mm-hmm.
when I say that, I mean like you want to know like everything about your shadow. Like I want to know like what type of freaky shit my shadow likes. I want to know like yo, you like speed? Like you like to go fast? Okay, okay. See if I can like there's certain things
Like you,
that you
yes, like
can
certain boundaries you will
actually
allow
do.
to
Like
kind
you
of
don't
push.
want to
You have
obviously be
control.
doing drugs. Your shadow
Most
does
things in
want you to do
moderation.
drugs.
It's like the existence of most things in moderation. Most things in moderation, but it's like
And
you.
drugs is like what? Like marijuana for us. And that we don't even really consider that a drug like that
No,
anymore. It's
like I
for
dabble. Like
medicinal
I
reasons and
dabble
shit.
into like the hallucinogenics. I like, but I've kind of made it. I've kind of done it more now. Like I haven't done them in a while, but like hallucinogenics for me now are it's more of like it's like a ritualistic healing. It's of the same degree, I guess, because it's like that's kind of where we're at. Again, that's another thing. It's like another thing where I say where I'm like we're also very close to that, especially here in North America. Once that starts getting opened up, like this is just like it's relatively new that they're allowing people to kind of like open up this this wave of research, and or I guess the research for the past 20 years is allowing them to actually get to the point where they're going to be using things like this, like psilocybin therapy. They
Mm.
have ketamine therapy already going on in the States and different parts of, like, I think there's a couple parts in Ontario where we have that. There's ayahuasca ceremonies and retreats out here. We have peyote retreats and shamans and this and that. Like, there's small variations of it, but it's like I feel slowly we're getting to the point where, because that's the thing, is like people have a lot of damage to that portions in those portions in themselves. So like they be put in. So you need something that's kind of like a static dampener that kind of makes it so you get forced into seeing those things to actually do the work, so to speak. Because it's like it's still going to come down to you reaching that point where, because like even think of it now, we have therapy and therapists and this and that, and like people, a lot of people are there. Well, there's a number of people who are able to, but choose not to, in the sense that they're not trying to look within and they're not trying to get any assistance in looking in. So it's like
Oh, I would call that, unfortunately, a lost soul. Someone that's in denial.
denial. Well, I consider it all the yes, but like also partial temporary though, because
At some point,
it's like
it
us
has
in
to
our
be let
20s, right? It's
go.
like us when we were in our 20s. We're just fucking around doing all kinds of crazy shit back then.
Yeah, the energy folds. At some point in time, the energy folds and growth, because that's our only
Uh-huh.
thing here to do. We're here to grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
That's our default. Our
you going through
default.
those processes,
Yeah,
sorry, those processes is a part of you growing. So like
yeah.
you can't slow that shit down. That momentum's gonna force you into it. Like, yo, it's amazing how the universe does do that though. Where even a situation where I was living somewhere and the landlord was trying to get at me hard. Like he had it out for me. He realized that I was an idiot. He realized that I was a well-educated black woman and that he didn't know what he was dealing with. So at some point in time, he ended up trying to take me to court. We did end up going to court. I won the court case. Of course I did. And then, the man's pretty much like really mad after the fact. Like he wants me out. like like not only did I try to scare you, trick you, lie to you, um
We tried to play you, yeah.
bamboozle me into a new lease, knowing that, you think that I don't know that that would actually override our original contract. If I sign a new lease, we're canceling the old one.
Yeah, pretty much.
You could take me to court. Nice try. But where was I going with that? Wow, why am I having these moments tonight?
um, no,
Oh no. Oh, the energy of
yes,
when the universe
those things.
forces you to change.
Yes.
So even though I won the court case and everything, I'm feeling all nice. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I live my life. And like certain little things start to happen around the place where it was like all of a sudden drug addicts were popping up outside of my entranceway and stuff. And I'm just like, what the, like, this is weird.
Mm,
Then too, there was like raccoons inside of the ceiling. You can hear like the big one, like three
energy
little
adjustments, energy
babies.
changes.
And then the babies were stuck up there because the mom left and couldn't get back in. You could hear the babies crying and stuff. And then there, all of a sudden, there's cockroaches. And then all of a sudden, there was bed bugs. And I'm just like, even
Oh
with
yeah.
all of these signs that were happening,
Oh,
I'm
I
just
remember
like,
that place. Is that the
because
place?
I'm one of
That's the
those.
spot I went by. That place was nuts.
No, 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 no. That wasn't that place. That was random and nobody saw that shit coming.
That
But
one
this
sucked. Yeah.
other place was because there was a hoarder that was living underneath me at the time,
Oh
and
no.
he had finally moved out after like maybe 15 years of
Oh God.
hoarding it
Oh God.
and probably three dead cats inside of his place type things. Okay,
Holy shit.
and he moved out, and they had to call like a whole company to come and like mask and clean out everything. And
Yeah,
from
like
when
power
he
wash
moved
was
his
fucking
stuff
insane.
out, whatever was in his unit started
Went
going
everywhere.
everywhere else. And I've dealt with smaller situations than that. That was like a massive, like, this is
Yeah,
beyond your control. Like, you need to get the fuck out. Like, the universe did like a couple of these, like, get out,
you
get
gotta
out,
move. Gotta
get
move.
out.
Let's go.
And I'm
Let's
just like,
go.
no, I can do
Yeah.
this. I'm strong. I can make this work. I can go to the store. I can get all my material. Yo, tutus. I ended up getting an eviction notice, 72 hours to move my stuff out.
Yo, fam.
And the thing is before that happened, I had a dream the night before. The universe or my ancestors or somebody came to me in my dreams and straight up was like, listen, I have a message for you. You're going to need to evacuate like within the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Because it was a dream where I, it was one of those dreams where I woke up in a dream and
Oh
I looked out
yeah,
my
yeah,
window.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those ones are
So it was,
trippy. Those ones are crazy. That's like
dude, it
those
happens to me
dreams
all
are
the time.
so nuts. I love those, and I love how crazy that is. Cause like our soul fell asleep. That's funny. Our soul fell asleep while it was in spirit world. It's funny. Our spirit fell asleep in spirit world.
So
Think about that.
sick.
It's so trippy, right? Like, but think about it this way though. It's like our souls never sleep though, right? They're never
No.
gone. They're never
Yeah.
asleep. They're always awake. So it's like those trippy moments. And I think everyone's probably at least had it at least one time. And it's like those are some trippy moments. And like I think it's like that's where we all can kind of feel like those moments are the things where I say the collective consciousness is like a serious thing. Cause it's like at that point where we all intersect, where it's like where we all have like similar weird effects of life and existence are like, huh, you notice that too? Like those little
Mm-hmm.
moments, it's like,
We have like very similar
yeah,
coincidences.
yeah.
Whoever
But
made up that word.
I had the same thing. I actually had the same thing you did for when I got this place. Like well, granted I kind of knew a little bit beforehand, but like I
Wait, I
also
didn't
just
tell you the
knew
story.
when it was time. Yeah,
I didn't finish the story. So the
yeah.
story was I was laid in my bed and I woke up in a dream. So I thought it was actually real. I looked out my window and there's a fucking tsunami coming from my place. And I'm just like,
Oh, yep.
oh my God, grab the babies, grab the ID, just grab the quick things that I needed. And was out, like evacuated instantly. And I remember like clear as day, me turning to the ID, me grabbing a bag of quick stuff, me grabbing the girls' stroller and like heading the fuck out. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that's exactly what happened like 2, 3 days after I had that dream, which is so weird. So the universe lets you know when it's time to move on. But ideally, even though it was a quick move and it was a messed up situation, I ended up moving into a momentum of it's okay. Like things are going to change, but things are going
Yes.
to change for the good. And I actually started, that's when I started meditating a lot.
Mm.
I started meditating a lot more. I wasn't, I think I was meditating in that place before I lost it. I think that's why I was getting those rich dreams too.
Mm, nice. Yes.
Like really lucid and stuff. And getting like premonitions of shit coming.
Mm.
So yeah, your soul and the universe always connected. That element of water is key to, especially for men, balancing that feminine energy,
It
that
can probably be.
hemisphere of,
I think it's more meditation though. I think that's what like
it's
med like I'd say on
meditation.
average men need
It's
to
the
like
elements.
meditate. Let's say
But
like
as an earth mama, I know that um, I understand the power of us utilizing the elements.
mm,
I kind of, it's not that I see better, but moms and other moms who are very spiritual will be able to say the same, that they understand that one of our main, I guess, flaws is that we don't use our elements enough. We don't use
your
the
advantage.
elements enough. We don't use the air. We don't use the water. We don't use the fire. We don't use the earth. as much as we should be using it,
Mm.
and showing gratitude for it being
Mm.
here,
Yeah.
and nurturing it, loving it, sending it good vibrations as it's always, literally, even when we're not trying, and when we stomp our feet on the ground and we're pissed off and mad and we're just like, fucking not. Like you're sending all the energy down into the ground, and the earth is straight up saying, okay, I'll take it for you.
Yeah.
I'll
You
straight
gotta
up
give
take
it
it for you.
gratitude.
This is the one thing I look forward to, is being able to take my socks off and like put my
Oh, rubbing
feet
your
down
feet in the
on the
grass?
grass.
Oh, all the
Yo,
time.
fam.
Oh, I
Yo,
can't wait. I can't wait to just lay down in the grass. Just lay down.
yo,
Oh,
yo.
oh, I'm looking
Oh,
forward to that.
oh fuck.
Oh, so
Oh
blessed.
fuck.
Granted, like I've laid in the snow so far. I've laid in the snow in the moonlight. I've
I
done
did
a couple
that too,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
That felt nice. It was very I felt like I was being hugged.
Mm. Another
It
thing I
was
will say too, at least like in terms of like, so like my understanding, at least from like a male perspective too, it's especially when it comes to right, when it comes to nature. Like the thing I seem to I tend to find about men in regards to where nature and things are concerned, it's like, well, we're we're generally with nature in a seek to control it or do harm to it. So it's like hunting and shit like that. Like, which I'm not against it, but it's like
that. It's not that it's not necessary either, but there is a necessary balance.
the balance exactly. It's like I like very rarely have I gone like only it's only like the dudes that I would say who are like hikers, who are like some serious hikers who will go out and will like find very mystic places and things like that. Like, but like, again, like that's like a small number, and like the number of like
We're talking
male
about like majority. We're not
majority,
talking
right? Like
about like
dudes are going
you're not
camping, like they're
quarter of the
going out to get
population.
like if dudes are going camping, they're going out to get shit faced, and it's like I've done that too, but it's like out of one of the three of those days, like I just go for a walk and like observe the beauty of the nature that's
And
there. And it's
like
like, oh my
close your
gosh,
eyes
be
and smell
stunned
the
by
air.
nature, like absorb it into you.
You know what I've been practicing lately? Walking around with my eyes closed.
I've been working on that more and more. I'm trying to get better with it.
It's well, you use your memory, but you're also like, when you do it enough. There's this restaurant downtown. I know I'm like bouncing around, but there's this restaurant called I
Oh,
think
that
it's called
blind restaurant.
Bar.
They're like, yeah, 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 it's all black.
Yeah, like it's a
Yeah,
really interesting
yeah.
experience to go and eat in the dark like that.
I've never
Like
tried it. I've never tried it,
all your other senses like fold into itself.
but that'd be cool to
Well,
try.
not fold into itself, but
No,
like
they
your
meld.
eyes. Sorry, the senses of your eyes fold into itself. Like it's like your brain is like, oh my god, like I'm awake, I'm still doing stuff, but I can't see. I can only see black. So
Mm.
it's like within 20 minutes, like your ears start to heighten in sound. Like you
You
can
can hear where a
feel
table
the
is.
vibration of somebody coming behind you, because the people who are serving you in that restaurant are blind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're the ones that know where everything is. They've already
Yes.
mapped out everything. But like it's a really cool experience. One, you can taste the food. It's like you can
The
hear the
food would probably
food.
taste so much better. Yeah. Without
You can
eyes,
hear the food.
the smell, you can hear it, everything. Yeah.
Yo,
That'd be
it was
nuts.
such a great experience. It's weird, but
I'm down to go.
also a
I'm down to
necessary
go.
experience.
I'm down to
I'm
go with
down.
you. I'm down to go with you. We'll do like a recording. We'll do an audio record when we go there. We'll just audio record us while we're in the place. Because obviously video won't work.
Groupon.
Obviously video won't work. So
Nope. We're gonna have to audio the whole thing, but it's
yeah,
definitely
yeah, yeah. I'd be down. I'd be down. We're just gonna be there just shooting the shit.
yeah,
Or we could
yeah.
just we could do the intrinsic podcast in the dark. So we're just at
In
the
the dark.
restaurant doing the podcast, just talking shit while we're eating.
There's
And
other people who
we'll sound like assholes though, because we'll just be like chewing in people's ears the whole time.
that's yeah, and
Pitch
your
black,
chew will sound even louder too, because like I said, like
probably.
your other senses get heightened when you're in that state. So
Yeah,
it's just really cool. You could try that as an experiment to yourself.
yeah.
Obviously,
Well,
don't hurt yourself.
I'd be down to do that. Like when you're talking about that, like I thought you were doing some of the stuff I've been doing. Like I've been trying to do that, like while like outside.
Yeah, I've been doing that while outside too.
Yeah, so it's like yeah, exactly. So it's like you go in, you have,
But
and it's just like trying to focus
you
and
can
then
feel
move.
like
And,
the vibration in like the metals and like
yeah,
in the trees. The bricks have different vibrations.
yes,
Plus, obviously, if
echo
you
sound.
meditate if you meditate outside a lot, then your senses are tuned into all of the other animals and stuff. You can even feel vibrations in the ground, like
Mm,
things moving around in the ground. You can actually feel like insects moving around. You can feel electricity moving in
yes,
fucking the wires
yeah,
and stuff.
Paul. Yes, you can hear
When you walk
everything.
past like power boxes and stuff, you can actually feel the dirty energy off of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I used to feel
Yeah.
that from time. Those big ass green box thingies. Oh my goodness, those things used to. They're
They
uncomfortable,
got rid of
but
them, eh?
probably they're
Most of
inefficient.
them.
They're inefficient for like those neighborhoods. They've rebuilt them and they can put them underground. Like I've seen a few different ones. Like they've changed them up.
Yeah.
But I guess they, also at the same time, like I only think they did that because it was just like it was costing them money for the system that they had. They were losing because like that. The reason why you couldn't go near it is because like, there was like electromagnetic like inference. It was just like blowing off. Well, so I couldn't take the caps of those green boxes off because you just get like electromagnetic radiation. It's like it's pure. Like they didn't. They're not containing the energy properly and like absorbing all of it. But I guess we're that's also another thing where we're kind of in the
How
process.
many children walk past those boxes and like,
Yeah, fam, I used to sit on those things for a whole day. I used to sit on those things in the sun. So I'd have the sun blasting me with like heat energy and then that thing buzzing behind you while I'm laying on it. I'm fine.
but that's pretty amazing how resilient our bodies are and how our souls
That's
and
the
our
thing.
body and our mind perseveres to
Brain.
survive the
We
change.
keep this going. It's up to us to keep this going. Granted,
Yeah.
there are biological limitations from time to time, but it's like in that same process of like our souls before we chose our bodies, or we had like maybe like 3 to 4 body choices, right? And it's like a bunch of them were screw around bodies that were just like you wouldn't learn a lesson, you're just gonna fuck around in the body and just like pretty much waste time. Or you maybe learn like a small lesson, and then you had one that was like your path. Generally, most people and
Mm,
things, if you're not like a really young soul, you're gonna pick the thing that's gonna be your path generally, right? Or if you're like,
yeah.
Earth is hard, man, I want to come back as like a fucking millionaire next time. Like, just let me at least like just fuck my bitches and like do whatever for like one life
I
round.
was gonna
Give me
say,
like
I feel
20
like when
years of
you're
just being a
young,
piece of shit.
you
just
get
just
tapped into your path a little bit when you're young, right? Like
yeah.
it's almost like it's easier for you to see, and like the courage to take those steps are easier for you to do. It's just you're limited because you're small.
Oh yeah. Access to nothing. Yeah. Like the world that exists now is like it I actually enjoy the range that youth have to express their creativity. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's insane in comparison to when like we were able to do that, but like where we are now, like kids being able to do that stuff, it's amazing. They have
No,
anything.
like
Look at how
we
much like
grew up in a
range they have,
time
and they have
where people were bullying like it was going out of style. Like if you didn't have the cool clothes and you didn't have the like people didn't say you were cool, like they were bullying you. And that's not something that like it happens on a different level nowadays. Not to say that bullying doesn't happen, but more people are open to stand up for other people if they see somebody doing shit like that, and children included, right? Like
mm,
we parents, generations of parents before even my generation, of course, have also taught their children like, yo, bullying's not fucking cool. Like
mm,
we don't do that. If you see somebody bullying someone else, you call them out on it. You say
yeah.
something. You don't let them get away with it. And even different days that we have dedicated to the different bullies, or not bullies, but like different
Oh,
situations that have happened,
same
to
time though, like
celebrate standing up for it.
yes, exactly. It's like
These children
I
don't
don't
have
think
to
they
do
should
that.
reprimand kids. I don't think they should reprimand kids and be like hardcore on like the anti-bullying thing. I think it should be more about empowering your kids. It shouldn't be about like demeaning the bullies. It should be more about empowering your kids to be able to like defend themselves. Because it's like, especially
Oh,
too,
I know
because
what
like
you mean.
yeah. Because like the world that like that's like participation trophy type bull crap, and that's not that's like we got to fix some
But
of that
we've
stuff. Like
grown out of that too. We've been fixing a lot of those like
those situations, yeah,
those negative narratives that we've been dealing with over the years, even with bullying, right? With women's rights, with even homosexuality. Like, yo, all of those different things have been shifted and altered in one way or another. And it's always not always, but I feel like a lot of the time when we're doing it, we got more longevity out of it when it's
yeah,
us controlling it.
yeah,
And then there's more meaning behind it, and then there's more passion behind it, and then it actually changes people.
yes.
But
You have a
when
little bit more of
we're
a
being forced into shit, that doesn't really work for us no more, you know.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the general idea. It's like especially without being able to hit that wall. Like that's the thing, because like we're always gonna have that paradigm shift of hitting that wall to have that positive feedback loop. Because like that is the purpose of like that's our default setting, which is growth. Like, but you need something to to give you a reason to grow. You need
All
something.
these levels, you're never like past the finish line in that sense. Like
Yeah,
I
you're always
realize that, but that's what duality means to me. Duality means that with good there's bad, with bad there's good. And when there's bad, it doesn't mean that all life is hell now, all life is shit. No, it just means that
like this
something
kind of sucks,
prepping
but
you for something else. Like there's something in your future that you're being prepared for that you don't even know is really preparing you for it, but you're just meant to endure the lesson.
hmm
And when the time comes, the pieces of the puzzle, which usually ends up happening anyways, when you
yeah,
enter into that moment, you're like, yo, when I went through this was all because of this to do this. What? Never saw
yes.
this shit coming. Like that's life. Like, what would life be if we knew everything that was gonna happen?
It would suck. We knew exactly everything that was gonna happen. Exactly. Like it would suck. Like I'll tell you this much from somebody who has a relatively high. I've got a stupidly high perceptive level of like future cone concept. I remember the cone concept of
Premonition.
thing. So I can kind of perceive pretty deeply into certain degrees of
Mm-hmm.
certain things of my own life. Like I've kind of guessed most of my life to the most part, and it's like, and it's good though because it's like, because it's like I
Nobody's guessed most of their life.
Well,
We can
I've
say
guessed most of the stuff for where I was concerned. Like that was pretty much the stuff that really was like what interested me was like my own development. Like I looked into my own future and I saw it's like okay, here's this portion, here's an arc here, here's an arc here, here's an arc here, here's an arc here.
yeah, yeah.
I kind of had like glimpses, but like I know exactly where I'm gonna be ish when I'm 38 and then another time when I'm 41. Like my brain's jumped ahead, but like there's a bunch of gray space and gray areas of like I don't want to know
Experiences
all of this
that
stuff.
need to be done, experiences
Exactly.
that need to be had that are none of your damn business.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I can sit here and try to perceive it, but I don't want to. I don't want to. Sometimes my brain tries to chip in. I'm like, hey, slow down there, buddy. Slow down there, buckaroo. My brain's trying to chip in. Hey, let's start chipping away at like what the possibilities are.
Yo,
Like,
I'll
hey,
tell
hey,
you
slow down.
the time that I actually tried to trickle in and like I really want to see, I really want to see, I really want to see was
You
when
can.
I was
It
pregnant and
hurts,
my
dude.
children were coming and I wanted to see I wanted to see what they would look like. I was just
Nah.
like, I could do it. I could do it. Yo, there's multiple times and the thing is that I universe tricked me so many times where I would always see like the back of the head and then the face would turn and it
Oh,
would be like some
oh.
other person's baby, fam.
That's your soul teacher.
And I
That's
would come out
that's
and be
your
like,
soul
damn it,
guide.
okay.
That's your soul guide messing with you. Your soul guide was messing with you. The soul are like,
Yo,
hang on. Because like that's the thing too. Because like that's one thing I've always understood is like, and when you reach that perfect realm of duality, humor becomes amazing. There's no such thing as being offended by anybody, and everything's just funny and hilarious. Like that's my whole hypothesis.
even
Like,
emotions, because you understand
yeah,
emotions. When someone's like freaking out, you're just like,
you can laugh.
but it's insulting to laugh because the person is taking it as an insult. You can't just laugh.
It's about how you do it. Good and genuine laughs at the right time can change the environment, change the situation. I've gotten out of
I've done it
like
many times.
so
Many
many
times I've
fights,
been able
so many
to
random
laugh.
fights, especially as a kid. Like when I was a kid, like so many, or when I was younger rather, so many fights I gotten into where it's just like I didn't like. It's not to say that I would have won or lost that fight. Generally, I probably would have won most of those fights, but it was just like I just wasn't into
I
it,
don't
and
want to
like
fight.
I just started laughing. It's just something about it where it's like the heat, the tension. Everyone's all like, and I'm just like, and it started dying, and then it's it. It's like, and it's just chain effects. Everyone starts laughing, and then you have that man. Why the fuck are we doing this right now? I don't even understand. It's like whatever, man. Let's go back
Yeah,
and let's go back and get a
I
lunch
feel
break.
like you and Diego had a lot of those moments.
All the time, all the time. Oh, I seen that guy. I actually saw a guy. He's changed a lot. He's changed a lot. Like the last time I had seen him, he changed a lot, and like very respectable. It was amazing to see the change. Like it's like he had found himself. He found
Oh, that's really good to
it was
hear.
great. It was very good. It was very good because like when we were younger, like we were young, so it's like there's a lot of tricky shit going on in our minds and our growth, right? But to see how much he had grown, I felt honored to have had that moment. We went
To
out, we
be
went to
able to
sushi.
see
Like,
it.
dude, held me down. I forgot my wallet at the house, and like he's like, no, like I was gonna go back home and like go grab it. And he's like, no, bro, I got you. I'm like, oh shit, this guy like take me out. I'm like, that's great. That's the first time we see. Like we went out,
Oh,
we went
that's
to
so
see,
cool.
yeah, we went out to sushi, had like a good time, chilled, and like we didn't really hang out after that because like I think I moved from Toronto like a couple months after that too. So it's just
Mm.
like, yeah, bye bye Toronto, and then it was like the real journey began. The real journey began. Like I would say that that's also been like my quest because like I really know like it's not so much to say that I loafed it, but it's like I had to experience specific things.
So you weren't loafing. You needed to be there. You were
Right.
like everything happened like so, and that's why I realize
Right.
now that even though I had the like, I feel like it was a push from the universe. It wasn't just a push. It like all of those things, all those situations after the fact of the negative outcome of the circumstance
Mm.
ended up being totally positive at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
I
I
think
was
it's all
like,
about
oh,
patience. Think about it this way. Wouldn't the lesson truly have just been for us like patience?
well, I
Right?
do that a lot. I do that a lot. Like,
That's the trickiest part.
especially in the moments where, like, I guess I should technically be freaking out.
Right? You
Because
look around, you're like, this would be
I'm
a
saying
moment to do
technically
that, but
because technically you shouldn't be freaking out because like if
no,
you look within and you look at where
then
you
there's
are
nothing
and how
really
far you've
wrong.
come and like you know that no matter what you're gonna be good. Like things are gonna work out the way that they're supposed to. So
Exactly.
it's honestly surrender to that knowing that things are good. Like you're
Yeah.
ultimately good.
Yeah, like that's the embodiment of the patience. It's like you
Yeah,
have to,
ultimate patience.
yeah. Oh yeah, buddy. Patience. Patience is a straight up virtue. I I have I am glad that I am as patient as I am and am capable of. Like scrolling back, it's like I guess to me, because like I can look at it humorously for like a lot of the events and situations. Because like you even know some of my situations, like even with like my past, like the most recent past situation, like how I look back at like that and like I laugh at generally all of it. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that's in regards to that situation where it's like tricky, difficult, esque, and like in the at the moment in time, we're definitely not great situations to feel. But I can look back and laugh now because I'm just like, man, that fucking sucked for me. Just like that fucking sucked, but hey, man, I'm doing
But you're
great.
out of it, and
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
I
I'm
guess
out of
that's
that.
the
I'm
key
like, I'm doing
too.
the best. I'm still like progressing. I look at those moments too as like because it's like I learned, I use those moments to understand that the true value of things is really not holding any animosity for nothing.
The let
Why, right?
go
Like it's like
theory.
no one can, like that's the ultimate truth of life and existence is no one or nothing can make you feel anything you don't want to.
Only you can. Only you can. You're
We
in
make the
control
choice
of
in what
your
we feel or
reality.
how we feel, right? So it's like that gave me that was like life smack in the face of like, what do you want to feel? That's what it turned into. That's what it was. That's what the change was. It wasn't so much like how do you feel? It's what do you want to feel? And then it was like,
Yeah.
okay, you know what? This is what I want to feel like. And then from there it's like, okay. And then it's like, whoa,
You
start
just
changing.
you become like your own personal servant,
Yeah, 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 exactly. Oh,
confidant, like king, queen, like you're doing it all for yourself. Yo, that's a
mm,
really powerful place to be in. To be able to, well, one, especially if you're meditating and stuff too,
now
because
I just really started jumping into that now.
that's wholeness on a whole different level.
Yeah.
Like to meditate and to keep up with it and to maintain it and like this is it's to be honest, it should be an everyday practice.
I've been doing it relatively every day. I think I've maybe missed 1 or 2 days, but I've been doing it from the moment I contacted the lady about the hypnotherapy. I've been pretty much every day.
Mm. Mm. Are you sharing a story? No?
Huh?
Hypnotherapy?
Hypnotherapy stories? Um,
Ah, the recent one that you just did. You just did what?
yes.
If you're not ready to dive in, that's okay. I will not press because it is
Okay. Okay. Let me
personal
see. Let me see.
experience.
I'll give some broad strokes. Um, so I caught a couple of glimpses. Oh, okay. I can. Okay, you guys want to hear a cool story? Okay,
Well, hold on. Before you tell us the story, tell us about the process. Like, what did she do? Like,
oh
you
yes.
were there for 5 hours.
Yes. So let's say for about like the first, I'll even leave her information. I'll leave her like if you guys wanna contact her. She's a very wonderful therapist. Her name is Kristen LeClaire. It's called the Good Life Hypnosis, located in London, Ontario. I was doing the shout out there. She's really good. She's a really nice person. So it starts off, we just kind of like get to know each other, kind of kicking back. Because I had like there's like a form you kind of fill out of like your general like personal affects. Like after you have your first contact with her, it's like a phone call. It's like an hour long. We had a phone call for her, and it's just to get to know each other. And so we met. Then like we were like she was telling me like how long she's been doing this for. That she like because like I remember I kind of found her information through the book from uh, Dr. Michael Newton, who was the one who kind of started this whole regression hypnotherapy thing. And so she went to his institute and she studied there. And so I learned about her past, and she told me about like I guess like what she does, how she does it, and a few other various things. Then like we went into like my intake, which is just like the stuff about things I was looking to see about myself, questions I wanted to ask myself. There's just general things, any fears, this and that. So
Mhm.
we kind of just got into like the broad strokes of it. Then like the actual approximately like 3 hours. So it's just like get comfortable. You just kind of go into like a meditative state, and it's just like it was intense because it was like I was there, but I wasn't there. It was intense. I was there, but I wasn't there. So it's like I wasn't asleep, but I wasn't fully awake. But like I was conversing with her, but like I wasn't conversing with her. It was like she'd
Your
ask
higher self
questions.
was conversing with her.
Yeah, she would ask questions and like I would just be talking and like I'm sitting here like, oh shit, that happened. Oh shit, that happened. Like kind of like not really. It was weird because it's like I I didn't really understand. Like it's because like it was because my brain wasn't really on. It's like my brain wasn't really on. It was kind
What
of
do
like my
you
brain was on
mean?
standby mode. It was
Yo,
trippy.
I'm telling you, she was talking to your spirit, fam. She
Yeah,
wasn't talking to your
100.
mind.
That was the whole
She
point. That was
wasn't
the whole
dealing
point.
with your mind and your memories and like all
Do you
your
think
thoughts and all that shit. She
I haven't
went
even
straight
listened
to
to
the soul.
Oh, dude, I haven't even listened to my recording yet. I haven't even listened to the recording yet. I have a recording for you. Yeah, it's pretty intense. It's pretty crazy. I haven't looked at it yet. Like I know, like I have like subtle, like it's for me, it's memories. Like I have memories, like bits and piece memories of of it. I can kind of remember a few things and a few of my past lives. Like, okay, so I'll give you a quick story then. I get an easy one. So I had a fear of I guess this was more near the end of the session, and like I put on there like I had a fear of spiders. Like kind of do, not really. Like not really anymore now because she kind of did like a hypnosis thing for that. But so she was asking like what happened with spiders, and so I regressed into like past life. It was kind of like a quick speed through. It was like a boat, or it was in a boat had crashed or something like that, and some kind of like cave, and like there's the only way out. And so like I think my crew or some people, some I don't know who it was I was with, but people who were with me that were gone were missing. And so I was running inside of this cave, and then like I went down a path and I slid into something, and then spiders, and then it was spiders, and then like that was how my past life died. But like I kind of remembered the feeling of just I was like,
So
like
you died due to spiders in one of your past lives.
yeah.
Yo, what the?
And
Yo, what the fuck?
I think, but the thing is too, I think the thing is too is that like I think it's because that past life was too afraid to kind of deal with the situation, so I think I ran away from the boat out of fear of some other shit, and then I ended up having that happen, and so the whole thing was it was just like an overall fear thing, but it tied spiders into it because they happened to be what I ended with.
Mm.
And so she kind of did a thing where she kind of like rebalanced my concept on spiders and like I don't that that like weird squeamish feeling and like the grossness feeling of them is gone. Like I've like looked at them, looked at videos of spiders and stuff. I'm just like, just like I don't
Doesn't bother you anymore.
not anymore. No,
Hmm.
it's very interesting. I recommend people
What's her name
young
again?
Christina Leclerc. It's called the Good Light Hypnosis.
The Good
Light
Life
Light
Hypnosis.
Light. Let her know Spiral sent you. She'll remember. She'll remember Spiral. Oh, and I learned my soul name, which is Gibrala. I think there's more to it, but I think there's more to it, but that's the
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's really cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, no problem. It was definitely it was an eye-opening experience, and it allowed me to kind of get better focus on some of the things where my because you've been seeing me kind of like go on these hypotheses and like studies of like the like my own trying you see me slowly trying to understand how to become psychic understanding my psychic powers and such, right? So it's like I was able to gain a basis, and remember how I was saying like I feel like I muzzled my shadow side too much to the point where it's kind of limited me and my freedom of expression and proper growth in that degree. And like I obtained some information from my spirit guide in that same process of like where to go and what to do and how to do it, so to speak.
Mm.
Which is like it, because it's the same thing of like it's the same kind of connection and combination between the male female energy and trying to keep it balanced. But it's like not. I guess the muzzling has created a different formative imbalance, which has caused it had caused me to fear myself, fear the capacity of my own abilities to a degree.
Yep. 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 I know what you mean by that.
Yeah,
But that's what playing with your shadow and getting to know your shadow
essentially.
changes, right?
Mhm.
Because like I said, it's you tapping into that. Yeah, my shadow is like an asshole. Is dirty. He's got a dirty sense of humor. Loves to party, loves to jump off shit, loves to do stunts, like whatever it is that the shadow likes to do, you have to do it. Like my shadow.
Impulsive.
My shadow is a dirty lady, okay? She's got a dirty mind.
Oh yeah, no, I
She
feel you.
she
I feel
likes
you.
to
Oh yeah,
tease
no.
people. She likes to
My shadow's a degenerate. My shadow's a monstrous degenerate. But the thing is, it's like I think this. So like the concept I have with my fear part is like it's like the fear is that I wouldn't because like in moderation you should be able to do. There should be nothing wrong with doing in moderation. That's the general concept. That's the general idea. Is like in moderation you should be able to do. But it's like the issue is with going too far.
well, that's the thing. Okay, so I want to encourage everybody to do a little something something to tease and activate, and honestly it's like you're showing gratitude for that side, because without that side you wouldn't survive, right? Like you need your shadow,
Yeah,
whatever gender it is.
yeah,
You have to play with it.
mm,
It's like your inner child, right?
yeah,
And your inner teenager who's already been here, and your,
yeah,
in our case, our inner 20-year-olds, right? Like
yeah. Pretty much.
we're done with the 20s now. We're in our 30s now, so
See, the perspective is though, it's like I should, within reason, be able to function. I think you see, like that's the realm of like being able to get that proper control. It's that you could be able to do your quote unquote 20 shit at any age because
well,
you have
yeah,
established a humble balance.
yeah, that's the key. Yeah, when you go through, and even becoming a parent, you know, one of the biggest
Oh my
superpowers
God.
to being a parent is having a young heart, being young
Yeah,
at heart.
yeah,
Make life effortless, fun, easy. Yo, life in this house is so easy when I'm like, even when they're like, because they're still learning their emotions, right? And I
yeah.
got two girls in this house, and I don't just have two girls in this house. I just, for some reason, threes have just been the dynamic in my life. So we have three girls. Everybody is cancers as well. So we've got the feminine energy, and we also have, which is water, and then we got double. So we pretty much got double water signs up in here. All three of us,
Hmm.
except for one, and that's Nala. Nala is half water, half Leo, so like half fire.
Okay.
Actually, I have to find out. I don't think that's
Wait.
the element for Leo.
I know I'm a strange side. Like, oh man, that book, yo. If you ever get the time, check out this book by Carl Jung called Ion, which is Aion. Really trippy book.
Aion.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. That book kind of trips me out because there's a lot of stuff that's said in there. Plus, like some of the trippy theories that I've been coming up with. It's like it's a little. It's beautifully written in a way that I can comprehend it in on a metaphysical level.
Okay, we gotta do a book club. We brought up a bunch of different books. Might as well start a book.
There's other book. I actually found a book the other day, a signed copy of a book, like randomly too, which is like one of those like I attributed it to the universal moment because it's like What are the chances that I was going to be in that specific spot at that place at that time to find this random
Well,
book that happened to be a book that's of like the spirit world, or I guess I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. I'm probably gonna read that book and just kind of see.
don't 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 overlook it.
Yeah,
Definitely look at. There's something in that book that you need to see.
yeah,
That's a part of your journey now, right?
yeah.
Like, yo, the thing is too, it might not be a part of your journey now, but it could pop up at some other point in time in your journey because I've collected books that I didn't even know why I collected them. And now that I'm at certain parts of my journey now, I'm like, yo, that's why I collected them? I'm like, yo, I need to get access to this information. And I look around, I'm like, I have the book right there on this specific topic. What? Like, what?
Yeah.
That I totally overlooked.
Oh, great Canadian outdoors. I'm back. Well, I've never, but some things just aren't for the camera.
That's okay.
Let me see if I can get this back. Yes. Yeah, it's about, I guess, establishing the balance between yourself, your other half, and like the other part of you. Under, it's tricky. It's that lesson that we all have to learn about discovering ourselves, putting in the work and effort, and trying to find out what really makes us tick, what makes our being, yeah,
What
what
gets
makes
us
our being,
going?
yeah, like truly putting in the work to try and find our being. Granted, like I guess the avenues of help for people nowadays is like meditation. If you're in a very deep state of lost self, then like there are avenues of help, and it's definitely look into those. Therapy would be like any form of therapy generally would kind of help. At least that's the start of like looking into it. If you want like a crash course in it, then like try to seek like spiritual noted spiritual ritualistic type of assistance, which by which I mean like with like shamans or like peyote or ayahuasca, things like that. I
Mm,
find those would be pretty good avenues of getting people.
I think it's because they create near life death experiences
Yes.
in the sense of like the energy of reflecting your life.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a neighbor about that earlier today, where like uh, that happens to seniors
Mm.
with dementia.
Yes.
Um, one of the things they were saying about dementia is that they don't know where it comes from and how somebody gets it, right? And I thought it was ironic that they didn't want to like allocate, not allocate. That's not the word I was looking for.
Study.
Study this the possibilities of there being a spiritual contribution to the effects of dementia,
Mm.
like the way that they did with sleep paralysis.
Mm. Okay.
Right? Because with sleep paralysis, they said there's something just um there's there's something unnatural or something supernatural happening about this
Supernatural.
experience, and they needed to dig deep and they needed to go down to like
Why?
um yeah, they need to go down to the native lands and find out why from the people there. Like what do they know about the spiritual contribution to these happenings, so to say.
Mm.
So I think that if we can put the two together, you know, spirituality and science,
See,
we'll be able to figure out
spirit
more.
sciences. I am that is one of my life's missions is to
You've never watched the series Spirit Science?
you know,
You have to watch the series Spirit Science on YouTube. It's an animated series. You're gonna love it. You're gonna get lots of gems from it.
all right, I'm in.
Yeah,
But I feel that
Spirit Science.
as we progress, we're getting closer and closer to the overall understanding of ourselves. Because again, like
Mm-hmm.
we're this is where we are right now, and like there's a mass scale spiritual awakening happening. There's a lot of people who are
Mm-hmm.
having this conversation, a lot of people who are being able to at least like I think it's just because like the fact that some people are starting to look within. And the more people that start to look within cause other people to look within because it's like we are all connected in that spectrum of
Mm.
we are all of a collective unconsciousness. Like we all have an understanding of a spiritual existence that we can't fully truly comprehend, but we all comprehend that we all have that same feeling of not able to fully comprehend it. So it's like we're
But something feels like we know something.
exactly.
You know?
And like the more anyone starts to figure out from themselves, it starts to create a general consensus. Because it's like there were things like even in the '90s, like we were talking about like us as kids, like not even just us as kids, even like adults, parents, like hearing stories about like psychic powers and things like that wasn't so far fetched. It was like some people would be like, "Nah, that's crazy," but then they'd be like, "Well, you know what? Like, I did hear a story about this, or I did remember hearing this ghost story, or this or that," and they're like, "No, I believe that," or like people had experiences. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
the expansion of our world has allowed us to kind of reach the level where more people perceive it, more people start to understand it, which means that they start understanding themselves, which means that the wide scale growth is starting to
Yeah, because like the
become
fear
prevalent.
around that is dissipating.
Yeah.
The fear
Yes.
around ghosts, the fear around, you know, the spiritual realm. Like there was a whole fear of, and they would call it the dark side.
Mm.
Meanwhile, there's a lot of light over there
Mm.
if you're looking in the right places. If
Yes.
you're coming from the right place, if your intents are in the right place, right?
Mm. Yes.
But that fear is dissipating. People are getting more and more familiar with the fact that there's a need for them to dive into themselves. Like what we just went through, it was a huge red flag to everybody on the surface. Like, yo, tap into you, eh? Because you never know when you're gonna really need just you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I gotta have to. That's why I mean, it's not to put people down or to sound like a hater, because I'm about to get me my license and be on the road just now too. But even when I got my vehicle, there's a good chance I'm gonna pack that my bicycle in the back of that truck if I'm going downtown or if I'm going certain places, so I don't have to drive it around so that I can
Yeah.
actually get some exercise.
Yes.
Even
So,
if it's just for 10, 15 minutes, just because like I'm at work, I know I have 15 minutes or I have a half hour break. I'm gonna take 15 minutes of that half hour break and I'm gonna go for a ride around the block, yo, because like I need to make sure my body works. Like my
mm,
body needs to be able to move when I need my body to move.
yeah.
And some of my friends have even made fun of me or, trying to make me feel small or bad. Even now, I'm a mom with two children. Just like, what do you mean you don't have a car? I'm just like, don't worry, I'm about to get a car just now. I've been good, is what you don't understand. Like,
Exactly.
I'm not actually over here complaining. Like, I got a
Exactly.
trailer for my bike too, so I can pull the girls around. Like,
Yeah.
yo, I love it. My body knows is very ready whenever I need to make a move.
You're more
Let's
in
just say,
tune with it. I'd say that's also another added thing too. It's like it's still I'd say it all comes down to like the body, mind, soul state to being able to understand your balance between the others. Like I think like there there are things that we need to learn about ourselves, and we got to start at like being able to understand our body. You don't have to like do craziest amount of work, go to the gym every day, or this or that. Do you understand your body? Okay, boom, that's one. Then it's like, do you understand your mind? Okay, now start analyzing some of the things in yourself. What are your habits? What are the things you want to change? What are the things you notice in yourself? Okay, boom, start trying to work on those, and then it's like spiritual realm next. Granted, the spiritual realm may even be it could be even spiritual realm first from body, because I think the mind's probably the hardest thing to work with. Like the mind is like that's our hardest thing to work with, and that's also probably the most.
Well, it's because it's on automatic, fam. Things just go.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, but that's what round out the conversation right back to where we are again. Meditation is like one of the ways where you can silence those thoughts in your head so that you're not hearing that shit.
Mm,
Which is yes, yes, awareness, being aware of yourself,
mm.
knowing your likes and dislikes. Do you listen to your body when it sends you signals?
Yes.
Are you connected? Like, there's times where I'm just like, I just all of a sudden got this thought. I need to go for a walk to the store, and then all of a sudden my body had this feeling of, ugh, I feel dry. Like, do you ignore those signals your body tells you, or do you actually respond to those signals? A lot of people ignore it because of lifestyle, right? And
Yeah.
work and shit. But
What's
I feel
work
like that's what
like?
this pandemic was about too. Because at the beginning of it, I was saying that I feel like it's a blessing in disguise because of the fact that our rat race society was slowed all the way down to like not moving at all. And it
Yeah.
actually felt really good.
Yes.
Like I thoroughly enjoyed everything not moving and just like being able to
Created a rift. You created a rift. It
smell
created a
the
rift of growth.
roses
Hmm.
and look at the birds in the sky and
Yeah.
actually take in like how a plant grows from sun and stuff. Like, yo, things were able to slow down. We
Mm.
needed it.
Yeah.
Now people have to figure out what do they really want. Do you want that fast pace, or do you want more ease in your life? And we
Yes.
have
You
the
want
power
a
to do it
calm,
for
you
ourselves.
want a calm existence. You like,
Mm-hmm.
no one's saying that your existence is not going to be exciting. It's just like it's calm with the least amount of stress. You could have a calm yet exciting life if you find your passions, which requires you to really try to understand yourself. But we're there, and like as we talk about it too, I know that we're spreading the same concept of self-discovery, self-understanding. It's like that's really the only thing that's our biggest mission of existence within our individual selves is self-discovery, understanding ourselves and understanding our connection to that which makes us fully whole.
Mm-hmm.
Which like all that it really is too, because it's like it's not like we don't have these things. We already have them. We just need to remember that which we are, and that comes from
Isn't that
listening.
like
Comes from
how
listening.
we create and how we express?
So, kind of, because sometimes people express things in poor ways. Because like think of it this way, it's like generally, as one of the comments earlier was saying, it's like some people if they're bullying, right, or people are like dicks, they're generally a dick because they have some fuck shit that's happening to their lives, and pushing
Projecting it.
they're projecting their issues onto you because they're not handling it, they're not dealing with it within themselves.
Yeah.
And I guess even with like people like that in that same degree, it's like it takes them to have to analyze that within themselves. And I guess one of the biggest things too, it's like people need to be less pessimistic about overall life. It's like I don't know. I hear a lot of things from people that, like people like,
Pessimism is like negative, right?
yeah, yeah. It's where like you don't have a good outlook on like the future. You assume that like it's gonna be the worst case scenario.
Everything's gonna be the worst.
Yeah, and it's just like if everything was like that, and this is the easiest in terms of civilization wise that things have been. How do you think we made it here? If
Like what we went through to get here,
yeah, like we
what
wouldn't
our
have made it
ancestors went
if
through.
there wasn't a purpose in existence. We wouldn't have made it this far. So like,
Yeah, nobody would be here right now.
no one would be here. There wouldn't be humans like this. We would
That's
either still be like mad monkeys, just trying to figure out. We'd we wouldn't have made the cut of evolution. We wouldn't be able to be here to have these discussions. And it's like because of the fact that we reach this capacity, it's like that in itself should be a window of like expression to like,
opportunity.
yeah, there is like the base factor is growth. The default settings of existence is growth. So it's like try to focus on the fact that although things may suck, take the time to understand yourself in order to grow. And that those situations that do suck are only temporary in the progression of your best self.
Yeah, I want to get back to that part of myself when I used to see negative things happen, and it used to make me smile because I'm just like, yo, there's something here for me to learn. And I don't need to take on the negative energy. But what's the lesson? Like, I actually used to
Yeah.
have fun like that, yo. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm bringing myself back, but the pandemic did not help, okay? That shit had me a hot mess for a little bit. But like year two, like year two fucked me the fuck out. I was so fucked up year two. I can't take this no more. I know everybody felt the same way too. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
there's that getting trapped feeling. I guess I lived as a hermit for a couple of years anyways, so for me, I was kind of like, it's not that different. It's
I
kind of like,
know. That's why I said I was good for the first year. Even like the year and a couple of months, I was good. But like come like after the summer, come the winter of this year, oh my
yeah.
god,
Oh, well,
that
yeah,
was
especially
rough.
since they closed everything off and they're like, fuck everybody, that kind of like shit, that shit to bed. That shit to bed where it's like, think about how that worked. They like shut everything off for like 4 months or well, like 5 months. Like that's so
Yep.
crap. You had 2 years, and then you were just dicks to a specific range of people on some nonsense. There's like it's tricky. Canada's a tricky country. We're weird. We're a weird place.
You were
A
in
very strange
jail.
place. Yeah,
Kind
kind
of
of.
like a
Yeah, kind of a jail. It's kind of a prison here. It's kind of weird.
economy
And like
jail.
the thing that I guess kind of like upsets my
You go
mind to a
practice
degree
that.
is that like people's outlook on the situation some I guess like some of the responses I'd hear in terms of like people's their views on this were like wild, like they were one sided without any objection to like thought. Like I feel it's like having that balance within yourselves allows you to have a little bit more abstract thought. You can be a little bit more objective to like things because you can look at both sides and have be able to come up with like an unbiased approach of understanding of anything. Because you're just like, okay, well, I can see this and I can see that, and you can kind of balance it out. But there tends to be like a range wall of like people getting themselves locked without trying to perceive the extended. Well, granted, I guess like it's kind of like that, but it also kind of wasn't. Like I don't know. It's tricky. I guess that's also a part of like the reason why we're in such like a spiritual uprising right now because it's like everyone's walls got tested to such high degrees that it kind of like expanded. It expanded a lot of thought in the overall. A lot of people's perspectives were at least kind of pushed to the limits, which forced them to kind of perceive and
Shift the
exist outside
perspective.
of just a base range.
Everybody's character was tested.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, had to
like
be put to the test.
but yes. I don't know. What do we have for time right now?
Let me see. Hold on. We're at 11 o'clock, so we're at the 2 hour mark.
Well, I'd say we did a pretty good jump in on the Animus connection, and I guess the the perspectives we see and perceive on them, as well as subtle treatises that we could come up with in regards to it. But I think we've done a good reach on this one.
Yeah, me too.
Do you have
We
anything more
dived
to
into
add?
different. Um, I guess I just want to add that. Eh, I think we covered it. That's what I'm gonna add. I'm gonna add. I think we covered it in the sense of we dived into different dimensions of the feminine masculine energy, and then we also talked about what it means for the male and the female, and imbalances. What it looks like when it's balanced.
Mhm.
We did talk about that, right?
Yes.
What it looks like when it's balanced. Yeah. So I feel like we covered it for sure. This is a good one, though.
Oh, yeah. All right, cuz.
Yes.
Always a good time. I enjoy having these podcasts with you.
Me too.
Thank you, everybody who showed up today. It was a pleasure being able to see you guys, having you join in and seeing some of your comments. It was very good. You guys can catch us back here again next week, 9 o'clock every Wednesday. Instagram Live. You're gonna catch us doing the fun jumps. You can check the YouTube page for any of our past episodes. The Intrinsic Podcast YouTube. You can the links on my bio. So feel free to go check those out. Shoot us some follows, shoot us some likes, shoot us some subscribes. Um,
Yes.
but as always, guys, I always say put a positive spin on a negative spiral. Always keep doing your best to keep being the best you.
Absolutely. And feel free to send us any ideas for topics that you want us to cover too. We
Yeah,
definitely are down for suggestions as well.
yeah, definitely.
And I definitely look forward to next week's podcast. I wish everybody a beautiful, blessed night and happy new moon tomorrow.
Yes, yes, yes. Happy New Moon. Is it the first though?
Birthdays.
I thought it was the first.
Nope, it's tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Cool. All right. Well, have a good night and take care, everybody.
All right. Good night.
All right.
Peace out.